This morning, I sent out a clip concerning a blind man who was involved with the construction of the concrete road from the temple to the exit of the main road, the Goi's temple. So the essence of the message is very simple. When I first saw this blind man, he was wandering in the village where I stay. He was blind. I thought he was handicapped, just doing nothing because he's just blind, but it was untrue. Every time when the village water supply has been shut down because of the, forest rain. The rain is so, the water is so strong. So all the mud sometimes will choke up all your pipe, and you need to discharge from the check valve to flush out all the mud that is choking the pipe. And it was raining season, so I went up to clear the pipe. And you know who I meet? I met this blind man. I was so shocked. I was expecting some normal person come from the village to come and do the work, but it was this blind man. And the terrain was very dangerous because you only have one small walking path. On the left hand side is a very steep slope, trip and fall, and that's it. You can drop at least 10 to 20 meters down the hill. And full of leeches. So I was shocked when I saw him. I said, how you find your way to this water path? He said that I feel when people do the piping their time, I also participated. I may not be able to see, but I want to help whatever I can help. So I said, how you help? He said, I help when they want to do the joint. I help to carry the pipe. So that really impressed me. I said, a blind man, even he's blind, but you look at his spirit, his heart, his intention, also want to help. And that was the first incident I have encountered with him during the Vasa. And got one time I saw him coming to the temple to help me to chop the wood. I thought, what? And let me tell you, this blind man got special skill. So I was so worried that he will let the act on his own feet. But no, to my surprise, he got his trick. I said, how you do it? I said, better don't chop, you're going to chop your own feet. He said, don't worry, Ajahn. I did this so many times. And he used his hand to feel the shape of the wood first. And then he put one nail. He hit a nail on the center. And then he every time go that time, his axe will hit will go near the nail and kick, and he snap, pum, and the wood split into two. I said, wow. And I was so impressed with this blind man. Is when we are doing the road, he walked all the way out 7 kilometers. No one assists him. And to my surprise, he was using his hand to what you see in the clip this morning that I sent. We were from far, we saw him. Since when this blind man came? So we filmed it. We filmed the whole thing and I walked to him. So I talked to him. I said, hey, since when you are here? He said, I come here, but nobody knows. So I come to this path. I don't expect this kind of thing to happen. A blind man. So further conversation with him. He said that because I lack of goodness in my past, that's why in this lifetime I'm born blind. I still lack a lot of goodness. That's why I must accumulate goodness. And that really struck my heart. I said, wow. You see, the words of wisdom from a blind man. Whereas nowadays people with good eye, everything good, but they are living in the life of negligence. They take life so lightly. Everything they encounter in their life, they just give up their hopes, they get demoralized so easily. And with this blind man, and with all this kind of things that we go through in life, that's why there's a saying in Chinese, they say, 富贵修行难. 富贵means what? 富贵 means fortune. I mean, you're too fortunate. When you are too well protected, the practicing of the Dhamma will be harder. Why? Because there's no challenge. There's nothing to put you in threatened stage. That your mind got to be on guard for your own practice. That's why exposing to harsh conditions, sometimes people will say that, why should we put ourselves in the kind of conditions? Why should we go through the kind of hardship? We don't have to. We got to, practice according to what coming up. And are we progressing? And the answer is no. Because you need some kind of a lean and mean condition to discipline the mind. Because the mind need to be disciplined. Because normally our mind is very arrogant. You see, he like to live the way he want to be. And like, for example, things that go in line with what the defilement like. Not what the Dhamma expected us, what the defilement like. And this is why we can't improve ourselves. We can be since like meditating, but we're sitting there daydreaming, thinking of this, thinking of that, planning this, all the while planning. And we thought that this is meditation. No, this is involvement with thinking. It's planning, and it's not a kind of meditation that's going to cut down our birth in our future life. It will be in the round and round and round, more birth, aging, illness, and death. More life, birth, die, birth, aging, illness, dying. The circle of the samsara keep going. It's unlike meditation on relinquishments. You see, recollection of the body, on what we call death. That today we have this old lady, and a lot of people is dying, and we only acknowledge that someone died, and that's it. We never acknowledge it. What happened if I die now? Are we ready to go anytime? Is our mind ready? You see, that's why when we get involved with someone dying, sometimes it's good that we visit dying people, sick people, so that it gives you a break, something to refer to that, life is so uncertain. Life is just a transit point. This body of ours that we see through this physical form is just a delusion. It's just something not real. It's a composition of the four elements. And if we break out, it's something that's going to rot away and nothing to be worthy to hold on to. If we can contemplate to this refined stage into our mind, and when the mind starts to accept the truth, and this is the truth, but it's just that our stubborn mind don't accept. Our stubborn mind only accept things that we like, we think that is true. But all these we call it fate. They are not the truth. But because we are human beings, it's just not 100 years old. This is a transition for us to accumulate whatever goodness. This is a transition for us to go through, to study what is life, what is called impermanent. Is it impermanent? You see, we got to look at it into this thing. Is it impermanent? You got to ask yourself, is it impermanent? Is it you, your, he, she? Where does it come from? You see how our mind attached to this kind of form. First time, second time, or third time of contemplation, you can't penetrate into the mind because the mind is so stubborn. You got to go every time we meditate, keep contemplating, until the mind can really see through, really accept it. Oh yeah, you can see the difference, the likeness of the mind when you start to contemplate into this kind of form, and the mental formations, feelings, all this kind of thing, the five khandhas. Then you can see through and through. If not, it's very hard. And we thought that this knowledge that we study is it's just knowledge. It's not the real thing. You can get forgotten sometimes. Sometimes you can just forget when you too long never recollect, too long never remind yourself. We can get lost. Get lost in our own mental formations, in the way the supposition of the world drag us in those things that we over involve, and our mind been dragging because of something. We get so involved that we forgot to recollect, and this is where we got to get trapped. It's very, very important. Not like someone when he passed away. I saw a monk on a sick bed when I was in Mysore. Monk, he got malaria and he before he died, he don't want to die. He hold on to the sister hand and he cried like a small boy like that. And then cry until the body give way. His sound get softer, and he pass off. He passed away in front of me because I was looking after my friend who is also malaria. But because we are meditating monk, we never cry. But this monk, he's from the Burmese side. Because Mesot is near the border, so a lot of Burmese people come over here for treatment. Any kind of they have an agreement, the government agreement, so the Burmese people can come for treatment also, and it's on humanitarian ground. What I'm trying to say is that you look at the aspect, even monk, and I feel so sorry for him that wow, he's not old, he's about maybe 40 plus. But he was green already when he was brought in the night before he died. He was already whole body green already. I look at him, I never see a green color people already. I saw Lord, green, yellowish like that, like a dying person but haven't died. But he keep crying. He don't want to die. And finally he died. And I see when his mind is not ready, he can't accept that he's going to die. Why I want to bring up all this type of matters? Because it acts as a reminder. Because we are people, we are human beings, we are subject to this same kind of happening in no time to come, but in another form, because we have different karma. Each person, we will go through this passing off in a different way. But it just remind, as a human being, try to practice as much as possible, right? Instilling mindfulness in your daily life as much as possible, right? Repeat the word Putto to guide your mind. If not, all these troubling thoughts, or this undisciplined thought, unwise thought will take over your mind, and your mind will be always being taken over by all this kind of thing, and it is not healthy for yourself because it will hinder our practice in the mental development to eradicate our greed, hatred, and delusions. And you find yourself very unhappy all the time because if you have all this kind of thought keep going through our mind, it's interesting, but it is not the path. It's a path of fire. Why I say fire? Because we never been cooled down all the way, all the time is hitting. This is no good. We must practice how to calm ourselves down at will. One thought moment, you just focus and the mind just stop. And that should be the way. Because we have so much time in the temple. Even though we have certain chores, we do our chores very mindfully. Very mindfully we do it. And you see this mental movement inside our mind. When things doesn't get into our way, how our mind react. And how our mind want to retaliate when certain issue has been challenged. How we react this mind. And when you can see this type of thing, this is what we are practicing. You see, this is informal kind of practice. And it's more interesting because why? Because people don't know you're practicing. You're only practicing because we know that, okay, when greed arises, you can subdue it. When hatred, jealousy arises, you can subdue it. When delusion arises, you know how to handle it. This is the practice. Of course, if we have a formal of sitting, doing everything together, when situation permit, then we will do that. Then if not, it's okay. You must train yourself to stay alone. When you're alone, how you practice. Like the old saying always goes, try to control our speech when we're staying with a lot of people. Control the way we associate with other people. Our speech. Control our speech. Because the speech will always offend people. When we are alone, we always control or watch over our mind state. Because every time your mind thinks of certain thing, you are always right. Especially when you are alone. Because you got no one to talk to. And the mind talk to yourself. Self-dialogue. And every time it's right only. Because no one to contest you. To say that you are wrong. Until you go out to the society, to a group of people staying together, then you will see that your true watercolor all comes out. Then you can see all these weaknesses to reflect on. So it's always good to stay alone, stay with people, stay alone, vice versa, switch. Then you can see there's, we cannot always stay in the very quiet place and then you say their practice so good. But when you get involved with other people, you don't have to stay. The practicing of Dhamma is what? All-rounder. Stay alone, also can stay. Stay with society, also can stay. Forest, no problem. City, no problem. Got food, no problem. No food, no problem. Come what may, take you on. That kind of attitude. Then you can practice everywhere you go. Not just you must cater this type of condition. There is a good place for practice. It's not, no. You must put to test. That's why sometimes when crazy people come in, I don't want to chase them, we let them stay because it's a very good test for people to practice. And then you see people who practice, they get so agitated, get so angry, and how come the abbot don't do anything, blah, blah, blah. I say, oh, you feel the test already because you cannot take the test. He said the crazy people, because he's crazy. Why must he be affected by his craziness? Sometimes it's good to have crazy people to come to the temple to test people out. You see, then you say, you try to protect the place, and he said, no, let the crazy people come. Then you can test individual practicing who got more endurance, who got more wisdom to work with their own mind. You can see when the crazy people come in, the whole temple will go haywire. Everybody will start complaining, blah, 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 blah. Then you see the one who keep quiet, who just look at herself or himself, they got no problem. They stay, they practice only because everyone got their own set of mind state. If you can be easily moved by other people, then the practice is far away. But you can practice with crazy people and stay with the crazy people, but not move and don't behave like crazy people, you're on the upper hand. Okay? Upon. You see, there was this question being asked. Food that was cooked overnight, can it be offered to the monk again? Cook overnight, and then it depends. If you offer the whole, for example, you cook the food and you eat from the pot, then it's not wise to offer because it's you have consumed it. But on the other hand, you cook a full pot, but you take out certain amount to consume. And this one, you say that this one for offering to monk. It's good. It's not wrong, right? It's not wrong. Due to circumstances, sometimes people bring a lot of food and you see that it will wastage. So you can, don't offer first. Don't offer first. Don't say offer. Don't offer. A lot of food you keep. It's not wrong. Tell the temple attendant, please help me to offer tomorrow because we don't want to waste food. And that is a wise move. And regarding whether you have the merits, of course, the minute you think of doing good, the moment you think, I want to do dana tomorrow, yes, you have the merit already. The merit already been accumulated since the moment you arise the thought of wanting to do the merits. And for example, sometimes we go Tudong, along the way nobody offer water. Thailand sometimes they got this sanjiao, this place of worship. Out of nowhere, they have this Don Tekian, this big tree that people go and call away, bring they bring the water, they bring some khanom, dessert they put around there. So body out. So someone come along, hey, come, pak Keng. Hey, no good. You no good, but good for me. So we must react according to situation, especially now. Last time I was staying in Mysore. It was very primitive, very hard life. So I was thinking, why should I subject to all this kind of poverty? There's this big ground. Why not I plant something, vegetables, some fruits? At the very least, I can banana 1 year, papaya 1 year, and oil. Oil is a sugar cane. 1 year you can take already. You bear fruits already. But on the other hand, we were worried that we might be criticized by our fellow monks that you're breaching the precept. So Long Po Tong, my teacher, came. So I voiced out my doubts to him. Long Po, because the garden they don't plant anything, so I think that I want to plant something to for my own consumption. And he said, of course, don't be so silly, you stupid monk or what? He said, Long Po Chok already said this thing in the past. In the future, there will be very serious happening, and monk won't have enough food. And monks must help themselves. You better plan your own thing to help yourself. Like what is happening in Thailand nowadays. Some temple nobody go. So the monk go to help themselves. So, and of course there are certain big temples, well-supported temple who all criticize, say, this temple no good, this and that. That shouldn't be the case because you are so well supported. You know some temple is not supported. Go and help them. Don't criticize. They are human beings like you. You see, you think they want to break the Vinaya rule if they have someone to support them? They won't. So sometimes when we see people in less fortunate, we must help them. Not criticize them or, add pain on top injury. They're already injured, you go and whack them some more. Not good. We should help them. How can we help them? And never, because when we start to say something, it will create what diversion, disharmony, and this is unwise. Especially people who are more wise, more fortunate, more offering. You should go and help people with less fortunate, you see. Especially a brother monk, before you go to the lay people, see other temple, we help them. That should be the way. Not that some well-supported temple go and criticize temple that's less fortunate, And I saw a lot of these things. I sort of, why? Oh, because they say they are more purer, because their precept is more pure, blah, blah, blah. I say, come on now. We talk about human existence as a human being. You think they want, if they can go Bindabat, you think they want to cook, they want to cook. If they can have food from Bindabat, they would like to go Bindabat. But at this present moment, people cannot go Bindabat. And food is so scarce now. Everybody jobless, no food. So a lot of temple is suffering now, in fact. A lot of temple is suffering now in Thailand. So why I want to bring this topic up today? Because I have feedback from Thailand that, it's not easy. It's not easy. Some temple, they stay far away. They've been about 7-8 kilometers to and fro, 14 to 16 kilometers per day. And no one come to the temple because COVID. And they got no choice. They got to help themselves. And then they will criticize that why they do their own cooking, this and that. I say, who criticize? Those well-supported temples. They shut up lah. You want to help, come and help. You don't want to help, keep your mouth shut. You see, only know to criticize. And those people criticize people sit in the office, sit in the aircon, criticize, coming up with all the policy, what to do this and what to do that. Do they know people on the ground how they suffer? They don't know. You see, by certain monk, they take a scooter for Bindabat, like golf car, because they are so old. They cannot walk. And they don't have don't have devotee to help them. So good enough, they can go to the golf, and yet people criticize, not the lay people know the problem. The Long Paul very pitiful, so old still must come up with the bar. Nobody helping him with the golf vehicle. And these people, especially newspapermen or these people, take photograph, go and complain to the religious affairs department. No, you cannot do that. Okay, good enough, go and feed him now. Set up something, go and feed him. Who want to be responsible? You see, people didn't know how to talk, criticize, but nobody. When it comes to helping, who help? You see, the man also say, it's good if they can come and help me, but who help? You see, when it comes to helping, all right. But come to criticize, all come and criticize. The same thing. That shouldn't be the case. That whatever thing we listen, any place, regarding about anything, true or not true, we don't talk. We know that it's not true, we don't talk. Don't go and spread the news because you're creating more disharmony only, which is not true. So this one is something we need to address in our daily life problem, our speech, right speech, and concerning speech, concerning slandering, lies. These are where the precepts comes in. So why we want to mention it, because there's something happening and we know that, okay, we should know how to address a problem. Help to say something good to suppress the problem. Don't say things that aggravate the problem. That should be the kind of attitude we should adapt as a Buddhist and as a community. Just at home, when we see something not right, like sometimes you see your children misbehaving, or you know that by scolding him will make things worse. So you don't scold him. You say something else and hope for the best. Same thing. The kind of attitude we should adapt. And that will be the sharing for today. If you look at this body of ours, there's nothing that is substantial or can guarantee you Sometimes you look at it, this body of ours, even though you don't do anything, sometimes this pain just arises by itself with no rhyme or reason. But that's a reason because of the weather and because there was a imbalance of the elements, the earth, wind, water, fire elements in the body. And that causes what we call feeling of pain. Is the result of the unbalance of this fourth element, and that's all. And for people who don't understand this principle of how to handle this kind of feeling, normally they will just get excited. They will, what happened to the body? Pop! They will run to the chiropractors or the Chinese physicians or doctors for advice, and then they will look into the, how to deal with it, give you medications, give you medical care in order to get rid of what we call pain. So a lot of people, they get stressed out because they're caught up by what we call feelings of pain, feeling of so-called uncomfort of the body that always irritate your mind. So an untrained person is very, very suffered, living in heavy stress, right? Unlike people who meditate or meditator who know how to contemplate into the real essence of the Dhamma, that you have this body. This body is made up of these four elements. And because of the unbalance of the elements and the changes of season, thus it triggers this kind of symptom and nothing else. And we do our self-remedy, and if it goes away, fine. If it doesn't go away, also fine. We take it as a subject of meditation for us to contemplate, to watch whether our mind get agitated or our mind get stressed out or our mind get making story. And all this making story, trying to find a way to cure it, is actually fearing of death. And that's all, and nothing else. But what to do? But this is the body. You just let the pain stay with the body and the mind stay with the Dhamma, the nature, the understanding of Dhamma will enable the mind to live peacefully, coexistent with what is happening with your body. Because who asked you to be born into this world? And of course, there's always a cause, and because of the precept that we have breached in the past, killing, hurting living beings, that is the reason why the individual going to suffer this lifetime. And why other people don't suffer? You look around, oh yeah, it's true. So when we have understanding, then we just leave the pain with the body. The mind don't have pain, just watch it, take it as an object of contemplations, which is quite interesting, so that you don't get so dull. Something to tickle you, not to have a good sleep the whole night, to look at it like a good friend. And when you can view things in this way, your meditation will be interesting. I use the word interesting. It's not crazy. Don't take me wrong. What? Ajahn, you mean you take pain for pleasure? No. No one want to take pain for pleasure. But we want to take whatever thing that arises, right? They're going to trigger us. We just watch it and make a full understanding within ourselves. Contemplating on the four elements, contemplating on karma, contemplating on how this body can be affected by the elements, and why other people not affected, and why you affected, and a lot of things. We arrive to the word karma, and then we hook it up with precepts, and we deprive of accepting truth, and no problem. When the mind have this kind of understanding, then we say that the mind don't suffer. We let the suffering, we let the feeling stop at the body. And that's it. And then you can live happily, even though you're living in pain, but you don't look like you're in pain. You can still do your normal chores like normal people, but pain is just a pain. You separate the whole thing out. This is how people don't get carried away by problems in their life. When you start to understand this truth, when you start this kind of issue within you, then you will know how to ferret out events of our life, what things concern inside of you, outside of you, and what is more substantial, what is more important in life. Right? We come to the temple to what? What are the purpose? To develop our mind in terms of sila, samadhi, panya. And we work toward this approach and not being affected of what we have heard or what people say or what. Because it's a development of our own mind. You see, we have nothing to do with whatever people say, nothing. We take everything that comes along the way as a test for our own individual practice. I repeat, your individual practice of how you understand problem of life that actually come from us, for being not understanding enough to handle the whole situation within our own mind frame. And that's very important so that we don't start to blame people, we don't be a tool to be make use by other people. We know where we stand. We stand with the Dhamma, we stand with the righteousness, and this is how the Dhamma can stay. Then we will know that, oh, happiness lies within. Happiness doesn't lie in the other people's mouth, what other people say. No. If you always mind being troubled or be affected by other people saying, then you are not strong enough. You are not firm enough with the Dhamma. Your faith is not 100%. If your faith is 100% with the Dhamma, we stand firm. Come what may. We take all challenge. Because life is a life of challenge, life of learning, life of what we call it solving problem, taking on problem, and life of wisdom. Why we say wisdom? We know the stupid to head-on crash. We know how to duck. We know how to take step back. Step back. Step back, that means you retrieve. We're not going to head on. That's what we call it. In meditations, same thing you got to use. How your mind going to push for it. You cannot just bang, read some book and bang after listen to some talk. At the end, you can't achieve what you want to achieve. You start to get, we call demoralized in your practice. And that's not wise. We got to keep on going, keep going. Rain or shine, we keep going. Just that we're going to walk. Rain or shine, there's a duty we must do. We just comply. We just do our job. Fulfill our responsibility. This is a responsibility for our own mental welfare. And dealt with the sharing for today. And now give the best singer. Yatha varivaha pura paripurenti sakarang Eva beva nito tina petana upakapatit Ichita badita dumha kipameva samichatu sape purentu sankapa Chanto panaraso yatha manicho diraso yatha Tiya vivanjandu samharo govina sadumade bhava vandarayo sukhi digayo go bhava viva tanasile sanicang buddha Vajayino Chakaro Dhamma Vatanti Ayuhano Sukhang Alaya Samipade Sekapete Vasa Parita Jatiyo Sila Vadeta Mochetawa Sanyate Brahmacharino Yadata Devata Sunta Sadakina Madese Tapucita Pujayanti Marita Manayatina Tatonang Anukampanti Mata Putavaurasang Devata Nukampito Poso Satabarani Pasati Pavatu Sapamangalang Rakadosa Badevata Sapabuddha Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantute Bhavatu Sapamangalang Rakadosa Badevata Sabba Dhamma Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantute Bhavatu Sapamangalang Rakadosa Badevata Sabba Sangha Nubhavena Sadasoti Bhavantute